Nile, Baluo ma Kenya, through Ramogi Juang, or settle a got Ramogi. No nyisa no watch Luo ma wangni. Ma juogi ose kwoyo. Ma juogi ose chiego. Ma juogi chiero. Iyalo mana got Ramogi. Emomiyo wan ka. To kaka Jakom osewacho migwena cha. Ni got Ramogi ni kidhie. Mae hemb Luo maduong' moloyo hemb te. Nwach kata chol bende kidhie ibro nwang'o ni gin gi got Ramogi. Kidhi Uganda gi Ethiopia ibro nwang'o got Gombai. Ibro nwang'o got Levi. Ibro nwang'o got Lamwa. Ibro nwang'o got Lakwong e Sudan. Matieni Luo teman ka. Kidhi thuchegi, if you go to their cradle lands in each of those countries, they have a hill, they have a got in which they go and talk to the ancestors and say, watch us. Omeo, this is very symbolic that the Luo of Kenya, led by the Prime Ministers Kero Dungiranda and the host governor, are saying that you, the Luos from the other countries, don't miss an opportunity, as the PM say, to walk up that hill at least tomorrow and go and see Asumbi, where the water never runs dry, Luanda, on a stone, whatever. Go and see Lodge, as Jacob said, that used to tie bulls and cows, and one day the cows pulled it and it grew into a trunk. Go and see the Rapogi that Jacob talked about, where Ramogi Juang used to sharpen his spears. And as Jacob narrated, where when sage speaks in a Lego, when the climate has refused to yield, the Wanyajra and Kowil and Nyaidi and Kadimo hear Rapogi belching for the land to yield. Go and see the petrified cow that got dried up because it has some spiritual. Go and see the Pong, where two clans divided, just like the oracle story that we will usually hear of the spear and the bead, where Kowel divided into Nyaidi because a lady who had just given birth manure, Nelaro Rego, the another lady. It led to death, and two clans were born. One retained the name Kowel, and one became Nyaidi. When you go to that hill, you'll feel Ramogi Juang's presence. With that, let me ask DG Matthew Owili to run the first session of the elders led by Kero Dungiranda. Then I'll come back to the second session with our keynote speakers. Dr. Will.
Wapamne Woodwon Lo, Professor Adam Solo, Erokamano, Manakako Wacho, Nidalaka, not far from here. e kama joluo tema nodonje Kenya, nodonje kaso gi dispersed from there. Our dispersion point as the Kenyan Luo is at Got Ramogi. Omiyo kawuono duogo ka kwarwa, waduogo dala Ramogi Ajwang'. Omiyo kwachako wach maka, to wakwayo jaduong' mwaluoro gi lala, mae ker marwa mwageno, jaduong' Odungi Randa, monde moyaonwa pap kawuono kaka owinjore. To kapok otimo kamano, tajiki kodhi yamo. Ichuogno juoklo kaka timo kamacha, kasti weyo ker wuoyo. Timane kamano. Please set up a mic for Jaduong because he may not be able to come all the way up. And Ajiki, you can come here. As you do that, kawa set ne Jaduong microphone. Ina panipodin inyalo chopo ka. Kasto korowe Jaduong wachonwa. Kawa nwabedo mos wawinje, karibu sana.
Your Excellency, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, Your Excellency, Honorable James Orengo, Honorable Oburu Odinga, Honorable Pio Wandai, our Ker, the party leader, acting, Professor Nyong'o, all the guests, protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ajiki Ondo. I just want to run something very brief so that we shout for Ramogi to wake up. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Yogi! Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, go to Ramogi. Amolo udo kana bonyo ora kigeng. Amolo ok mai thuru. Orenga ji mai thuru. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, kodiamo. Ogwe ura chona. Go to Imore, Imore, Tongsuna Gimali. Kodiamo. Ogwe ura chona, hajura ura chono ke ugo ukora bodo bikunyusa kwata the head ama chino wani nya kukomotaka kwa kotek. Watu yokalo wangni. Ajiki kodiamo. Ero kamana Ajiki kodiamo mano wuod Kisumo manyakwar wangu. Aroni koro kawo thuolo ni mondo mi agwel ker marwa mondo obi olos kod oganda ne. Machiegni ahinya jaduong'.
Muluor Gilala e Purwaka e Kenya ka Raila Amolo Odinga Governor Masiaya Orengo Nyatieng Mama Giladis okang'eyo kata ochopo to gi jowa duto amoso uno imore ukendo amoso joluno imore uru oganda Luo kama wantie ni ma chakruok ma Luo Got Ramogi chakruok ma Luo higni mathoth higni 800 mokadho kama ne joluo dake. To ka joluo osedaka, koro gichako kere. To kawuono ne, odiochieng' ma kawuono gi tarik ne, tarik 31 dwe mar 12 higa mar 2024 waduogo dala. Kendo kawuono ne wadwa ruyo piny ka kama ne kwerewa gi kwerewa oae. Joluo donge umor? Joluo donge umor? Joluo osewuotho kane giwuok choni ka gidhi koni ma gichopo ka. Awuoro gi maduong' ne ok ang'eyo ni anyalo chung' nyim oganda ma kama kaka ker mar oganda Luo. Ker mokwongo e thurwa kaneno Oginga Odinga. To ker ma kawuono en ker mar 9 bang' Oginga Odinga en Odungiranda. Omiyo gima kama omiya mor, kendo kaneno kama kapod angima kendo pod ategno anyalo wuoyo. To ne ukwech kuneno kawuotho ka chachni, awuotho ka chachni. Chon eno ka chachni. Chon aja mipira. To loch marach maragoko. Loch marach. Mikawi nyumi ei pi. Titunji emomiyo achal kama. Joge waduto mane ok odhi kuro. Wuotho maber. Kuneno kaka Raila Wunyalego chal. Duogne uero kamano. Ke Joseph gi Luo. Pokoleto Luo daon. Pokoleto Luo daon. E yo mora mora. Kagi mora dhi kama to ng'eyo twenyo. Kagi mora dhi kama to ng'eyo twenyo. Mwachopo kode kaka wuono. Walamo ne Nyasaye. Nyocha uneno kodhum gi yawuot pinje mamoko. E wach mar AU. Owacho weche duto. To koro uwinjo. Ni ka Nyasach Ramogi, Nyasach kwero yie, to mondo dhinwa kucho. Koro dhi kucho, to ong'iyowa gi malo, e ka waduogo ne Nyasach Ramogi erokamano. Nikech wan gachiel kende. Wan gachiel kende. Ruath makokwombo ka, to ruodhi makocha winjo. Mane Raila Wunyalego. Aparo ni uwinjo wachno malong'o. Joluo winjo. Joluo winja. Ato dak upamna kawuono. Erokamano. Ok awuotho kenda joluo. An gi jodong Luo. An gi jodong Luo. Mano yierago e pap ma Homa Bay. Moya University lokacha. Dang' aher mondo ahul wuoyo matin. Eka wuo matin to koro achwewe mitwecho dhi nyime. Jaduong' Ayaga. Jaduong' James Ayaga ma ogai mamara. James Ayaga en ogai ma Luo. Jaduong' Abelo Mbuor ma cha ruodh Goro. Ma cha ruodh Goro. Wan kod mine. Ok wawe mine chien. Nyaka Nyaluo ere. Rapudo mating'o badeno ma nyaka Luo. Ober maber. Unene kaka ober. Mano mind Luo. Ruodh Goro ni nigi jalupne iluongo ni Jaduong' Obara King. Jaduong' Obara en wuod Seme to dak mana Mombasa. Nyo biro gi ndege manyoro kendo wan go kode. Kata ol kamano. Mano jalup ruodh Goro. To mochung' butani en Osumba Merwai. Vitalis Awandu wuod Alego Kogelo. Makoth Gobama Barak mano osiepne maduong'. Ma. Tajiki mo babatani. Ma. Emaluo ma. Ene Assistant Organizing Secretary. Mama Liliana Malo. Ma Nyaboya. Nyaboya ni mama yan tayo. Ker makura kao kare. Jaduong' Opiyo Rabora Wuon Otondi wuod Nyera Jakarombo. Mama Lilian. Erokamano Nyaboya. Mama Kristina Keyo ere. Mano nyapoko e piny Nyakach. Ene jakeno matin. Maluo maduong' cha. Mama Rose Otumba ere. Mano Nyaseme ka Nyadwera. En mochung ne mon esiayaka. Mine wona urkum lungo mon. Ke doga nyalo lungo malung di dek di danga kosnu. Mano kaka wakti. Uganda Luo. Oh. Mama Damaris. Mama Damaris no. Oao mabei. En mochung ne mine mao mabei. En mama Gladys wanga yando me wago ni mama ni. Ber mondo wuoth kode. Ero kamano. Beno molo. Beno molo no. Eja koma Migori. Bishop Kasukwa Malo. We muneno malaoro mudene. Mawuda ero nyando. Ilunge ni Bishop Kasuku. Ene jakom mar Kisumu County. Kanere. Mano ero. Mano to PA. Mar jadunga yaga. En momako na yaga du to gige. Nikatino ere. Mawud karaten Kisumu. Jaka Black. En karan. Marjo Kisumu County. To kendo ene ngata matingo na ndai mamahara. Uganda Luo uneno jogo. Engineer wabwaya iri. Mano. Engineer wabwaya ni. Wangi kadhola ka. Kinono gunde. Iluongo ni uwud kanyipola ya kadhola. Magi jo kadhola mano kongo kopin kacho. Ne kama engineer wae. Tomo dongo nika. Mano jakom mar makongeni. Office ma ene duonde Luo. Manarobi. Jagoche. Iluongo no tianga wudrongo. Awinyo no tianga dhineno watne more Piny Luo. Mane team mawuotho godo. Mane team na. Tojo Luo. Aduga wach lu matin. Awach lu matin. Joluo uye. Jokanam uye. Paru maber. Uganda Luo paru maber. Wede wani kunde duto. Ana said the Sudan. Mina mako siep Sudan. Na said the Piny Achol. Mamako siep Piny Achol. Tiyo jadili rapi nyubote wudlango. Kabuna nyalo kuotunu. Nika machungeni. Na wachamo gubote lanji. Kangat maratego. Ngat bajara tiro. Ngamatim neber. No ginga guda logo. No tera kuro. Mwa mosorego bote. Moboto dugo tiyo Uganda. Kaito koro pinyote moraka mano. Eka kandiwa wuoth. Okadwar wacho nuweche mang'eny Uganda Luo. Takwayo. Nijo Luo duto. Weche mag Luo. Ubigo ira. To weche mag siasa. Raila wunya lego nika. Mituchwe unene. Tulu bange. Katana wuon. Aluo bange kisiasa. Eno wuon. Bolu bange Kenya Luo. Uganda Luo. Manya segwe dehu. Joey. Ero kamano.
Dakwa pamne kir. Wagone sigalagala. Ero kamano wan kod welo mang'eny. We have guests from all over our continent and from all over the world. The Luos live in at least 12 countries that we know of. And so now I want to invite up front I am informed that our brothers from Ethiopia are ready, and so they take the floor first. And before I invite the Kir or the King of the Anywa, I want to ask that we get a brief entertainment, did you say? From a group from there? Anywa traditional dancers. Are they ready? This is their opportunity before the king speaks. Well, I'm told the king speaks first. Ung'eyo no arwake motegno kabisa uye. Ere je moyie nyaka warwako ting'ana badgi malo. Kurana wapamone samo biro donge ber. Aya, karibu sana, tumpige makofi. 1 2 3. Kendo karibu sana, warwaki dala, warwaki got Ramogi, warwaki e dala mar Kenya. Erokamano, karibu.
Luo achiel. Juog duong ne ber. Juog duong ne tek. Luo duong ne ber. Our unity is our strength. Our unity is our strength. We are very glad to be with you as one family. We came from Ethiopia. Some people, the young one, may not know that Luo are extended up to Ethiopia side. And this is our honor and joyful day to be with all Piny Luo people or family. I will start to convey my kingdom representation to the podium. Esteemed Kir, Honorable Your Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, I can say the President of Luo, the President of Africa, the President of the all countries on the whole continent. Honorable members of the council elders, distinguished members of the steering committee, our host, His Excellency Mr. James Rengo, Saya County Commissioner, our Governor, His Excellency Gladys Wanga, Homa Bay County Governor, His Excellency Ochilo Ayako, Migori County Governor, His Excellency Professor Anyang Nyong'o, Kisumu County Governor, Right Honorable former Prime Minister, as I repeat, Raila Amolo Odinga, Honorable Jacob Oboth, Minister of Defense, Uganda, Your Majesty King, Chiefs and Representative Piny Luo communities, distinguished guests, and Tung Luo, all protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen, una mother kedanywa, bere nadi, una rio nadi. That's what it means. From the oneness permit me to extend my warm greetings to all present of this historic assembly of the Luo community on behalf of His Majesty Nying Lela King Akwai Agada Akwai Cham Gilo, 24th of the Anua Luo Kingdom, along with the other kings and chiefs representing the Anua Luo Kingdom and the Anua Luo people in Ethiopia and South Sudan. I, Omot Agua Okwoi, have been appointed by His Majesty King, His Majesty King Akwai Agada, to convey
his sentiments of this inaugural Piny Luo Council Cultural Heritage Festival, as he is currently attending his hill daughter in the United States. On behalf of the Majesty and the entire Anywa people, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Kir, the Council of Elders, and the Steering Committee for their diligent efforts in organizing these prestigious cultural events for the Luo people, which marks the first instance of its kind since the great migration of our ancestors. The Anywa people perceive themselves as part of the broader Luo community. We share common culture, language, heritage, tracing our lineage back to Gilo. Worukwa is historically, accounts suggest that our Luo ancestors migrated from the Bargazal region, possibly originating from the north as far as Israel, before journeying southward to the region, to this region. I agree with the speech of Jaldwong, Right Bishop Mick Bakar Uchola, who mentioned Luo originated from the Middle East, Jerusalem, which is the central part of the earth. You can watch his media. Biblically, Anywa ancestors' city was in Israel land called Gilo. I quote, Gilo is a city in the Bible that was located in the mountains of the southern Judah. It is mentioned in the book of Joshua 15:51 and the book of 2 Samuel 15:12. End of quote. Although this topic is best to be left for anthropological studies, it is pertinent to recognize that within the Bargazal region, Nyakao, Dimo, and Gilo experience a divergence. Gilo, my ancestor, followed his elder brother Nyakao, which is the king of Cholo, settled along the eastern coast of the White Nile River, while Nyakao established himself on the western coast. Following dispute, Gilo continued to migrate southern along the Sobat River and its tributaries, where Nyakao remained in the Upper Nile region. The contemporary Anywa community is now dispersed between South Sudan and Ethiopia. Distinguished members of the Piny Luo community, we are unified as one people, one family. His Majesty King Akwayagada exposes the principle of one Luo, or a Luo Chial, a tradition that has been preserved by our ancestors for generations since the great migration of our people have expanded across Africa, and today Luo community can be found in Chad, South Sudan, Ethiopia, the Central African Republic, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania, with potential population in additional countries yet to be found to identify it. While this geographic spread can be considered a success in a certain respect, it has also introduced vulnerabilities and formidable challenges to our communities. Many Luo groups, including the Anywa, face difficulty in preserving their cultural identity and heritage amidst increasing globalization, grappling and challenges such as assimilation and the loss of a population and land. This situation necessitates proactive engagement from our Luo tradition leaders, intellectual and political representatives. In my kingdom, my experience considerable territorial and communal losses. The mitigate these issues His Majesty Akwai, King Akwai, has recently coronated 3 princes, both in Ethiopia and South Sudan, establishing them as king to uphold their father's legalities and encouraging the repatriation of individuals to their ancestral homeland. Moreover, events like Piny Luo Cultural Heritage Festival provide and include invaluable opportunities to reunite our Luo people. Such events facilitate interaction among traditional leaders, intellectuals, politicians, and youth, fostering discussion on restoring our culture, language, and heritage. Furthermore, they present an essential platform for the next generation to connect with their roots and historical ties. Therefore, it is imperative that we collectively support and promote this event to ensure its success. When we envision this festival evolving into an annual gathering akin to a pilgrimage for the entire global Luo community. We anticipate to joyous reunion and productive interaction the coming days of the festival. Thank you for your attention. Tung Luo, Luo Achiel, One Luo, Luo Okonjoke. God bless Luo. This is the message from My Majesty King Akwai Agada. Thank you for listening. Adding a small thing, as we know, we have honored Honorable Raila Odinga, Amolo Odinga, and he is only one. For the Piny Luo community, who came from the part of Africa, different part of Africa, we have to encourage the youth to reproduce, to bring new people like Amolo, Raila Amolo Odinga. We need in all unity from Uganda, South Sudan, Ethiopia, we need more Raila Amolo Odinga. so that we can go ahead, go forward to achieve what we plan. God bless you again. And at this junction, we have a small token for our Baba to present him. He cannot come here. We go to him there and we present the gift. It's a small token, and I will tell the character of the gift. We call it lul. Lul means it's a weaving, a traditional weaving of separating the fine flour from the rest that will be thrown away. Traditionally, things have come changing, and now can be used for fruits, for other things, for museum, as an annual culture lul gift to our Baba. Thank you. I think I will go down with them and we give.
Ero kamano agone luedo agone sigalagala. Thank you so much for your very kind words and wise words. We'll allow them to present the gift to His Excellency, the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, and then from there we can get the next speaker. Asanteni sana. Thank you very, very much.
Professor Peter Adwok, if you're around, please come forward. Professor Peter Adwok from Shilluk, King Representative.
Sigalagala, sigalagala, sabe miyo jakom gift. Ero kamano, wapamolo wetu wago sigalagala bendi. Ero kamano, thank you so much for the gifts for Baba. Asante sana. Anana koriti wenegi moro ngute kanyo. Mowuok cho Ethiopia. Kumajo dala moko nitie. Ero kamano, thank you, thank you, thank you. Much appreciated. A photo opportunity right there. Opigwe picha. Mondo chiengi par godo. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you very much. Asante. Asante sana. Thank you very much. Ero kamano. We have a big delegation from Uganda. And I know that at Migwena we had the Minister for Defense. Our very good brother, the Honorable Oboth, had time to speak there. I would like to invite Ruth David Onen Akana to say a word on behalf of the Ugandan delegation. And when you do that, Ruth, kindly also just introduce the rest of the delegation that are here. Most welcome. Wapamne kubira chari adek. Apo di kurulu edoka machari adek. Kendo, karibu sana, most welcome. Most welcome. You can speak from here. Wapamne rosa mobiro yawa. Aero kamananya. You could speak from here.
Your Excellency, Raila Odinga, Your Royal Highness, the K, Your Excellencies, the governors, all government officials, religious and political leaders, youth leaders, ladies and gentlemen. 1K, first of all, I would like to thank you very much for inviting us, together with the Governor, His Excellency Orengo. This is my first time to be here in Luo area. I have spoken to our leader a number of times. I met him before in Nairobi in some conferences, but it was an informal meeting during those days. So I want to thank you all for this initiative of inviting us to converge here for the Luo Cultural Heritage Festival. This is a historic congregation where we, the Luos, in various parts of Africa, who are separated by migration and colonial boundaries, meet and unite to celebrate our culture. When the president of Uganda restored cultural leadership in Uganda, I am sure that in his mind, he wanted us to discover our linkages so that we can reconnect and bring ourselves together through culture as a way of reintegrating the East African communities as one nation. Since the time of migration, we have not had the chance to come together as a people of common ancestry, but today it has availed us with the opportunity to fulfill our dreams. This gives us the chance for socioeconomic transformation, because when we come together, we form a bigger society with greater potentials in various spheres of life. This is therefore the key to stimulate active participation into development programs that can overcome the fragmentation that often hinders collective action. The traditional leaders can therefore impact development by coordinating local collective action, adjudicating conflicts, and overseeing land rights. We should therefore engage in collaborative arrangements with transformative actors such as the government, investors, so that we can mobilize the community using the structures to embrace socioeconomic development. We can be champions of change in our community that can influence mindset change. We have a significant role in socioeconomic and political lives of citizens of our countries. We are partners in development as far as implementation of government poverty alleviation projects are concerned. Although migration separated, fragmented, and to some extent changed our culture, but the relation and heritage remain the same in our history and blood. We should therefore endeavor to preserve promote our heritage as our identity and pride, even when we now live in different countries separated by imaginary boundaries. Our culture and heritage should therefore unite us more than anything, and we should continue documenting, researching, and improving on what we have so that we can preserve all the good practices and do change or do away with those that do not promote our dignity. We should protect our culture and customs from intrusions by other cultures, because this can be damaging to our youth and to future generations. Aware that with the advancement of technology, it is a big challenge, but we should also use the same technologies to spread our rich culture and heritage. I suggest that we should one day have a regional Luo festival, which should be on a rotational basis as a way of opening, learning, and sharing our culture and heritage. That will also open up some of our potentials and attracting tourism as a way of reinforcing our unity in diversity. Internally, as the Luo, we should work on our unity with each other by looking at structures that bind us into an entity that will make each of us responsible and supportive to one another. Our generation made us resilient, and we should turn this into a rolling point that will first drive us forward as Luo. I would like to applaud Ladit Jaramogi Oginga, who conceived the idea of the formation of the Luo Nation in 1947 for uniting the people of East Africa. And as we can see, it should be for the whole of Africa, as our gathering today can clearly show. We should therefore have a structure that allows us, the Luos, a universal growth for the Luos economically, socially, and politically. We, the Luos, are famous, revered, and leading in several areas, such as academia, politics, sports, beauty, and culture. That means we are stars or celebrities, and we should use this to uplift Luo to another level. I would like to thank you once again for inviting us for this cultural festival. When we go back home, we shall sit down and also see how we should invite you to go back home to Uganda and rediscover ourselves in a Luo cultural reunion. Let me also take this opportunity to wish you all a Happy New Year. And before I step down, we have a delegation of the Luos who came from Uganda. If you can all stand up wherever you are, the Japadola, the Acholi, the Aluru. Those ones that you see standing there, those are chiefs. Those are royals from Acholi, all of them, and some of the staffs that I came with. If there are other Luos that are here from Uganda, please stand up also so that they recognize you. Otherwise, thank you very much. We look forward to interacting more with you, learning from here, gaining experiences from here, and see how this beginning will be a beginning that will never end. Thank you very much.
Wapamne lwedo kendo. He has been big on our unity as the Luo nation and asking that we establish one indivisible fabric of the Luo nation across the world. Erokamano wachako wapamnegi. Wangi representatives from DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, iwacho nipo gichopo. Kendo wan gi jodalawa mowuok Tanzania, kamoro ni Roria, to gibende pok gichopo. Kao kamata kao thuolo ni makende koro, mondo mi aluong Professor Adam Solo, ma wuodi Imboka, mondo koro bi observe the next phase of the program, and we may, time permitting, allow our brothers and sisters from the Democratic Republic of Congo and from Tanzania to say a word. Professor Karibu.
I think because the opening ceremony took longer, quite a number of delegations. Some are in the mausoleum as we speak. Some are in the Ramogi shrines as we speak. And therefore, our program might not flow as neatly as we had done, but as Jacom would tell you, that is Juogi. Juogi is inviting them everywhere. Jaramogi is inviting them, Ramogi Ajwang is inviting them, and those who have come here, also Kerodungi and Kerakana, are telling them, let's be here. So allow me, because the program is a little bit hazy, allow me. Professor Nyaba was supposed to be the first keynote speaker. Ashiluk, who is a liberation fighter in South Sudan, he'll be here. He's still at the mausoleum. Allow me to invite a dignified son of Africa, a diplomat, a lawyer, a politician, a friend, I'm told an Oxfordian, whatever that means, a friend to the Jaramogi family, a friend to Professor Peter Nyaba, a friend to the Luos, and a chol of explicable character, Dr. Olara Otunnu, to come and speak to us.
Jacom, Woodwan, Woodluo, His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, I greet you. Thank you for inviting us here. The governors who are here, led by Governor James Orengo, Ruot Mewa, Ladit Ruot David Achana from Uganda. All the cabinet secretaries, including our own Minister of Defense, Honorable Oboth. And all the leaders here, we especially thank Piny Luo for the leadership and for the message. You see, when I was at Makerere, Governor James Orengo contemporaneously was the president of the student union at Nairobi University. I was president of the guild at Makerere University, same time. And a great and brilliant leader had gone ahead of us. One of the most iconic presidents of the guild, Makerere Guild ever, is none other than Governor Professor Peter Nyaba of Kisumu. So in a very special way, this is a reunion of sorts. Today we are at the foothills of God Ramogi. You see outside Gulu, there is God Ramogi. The R and L became interchangeable because of our association with the Bantu. But outside Gulu in Amoro district is God Ramogi. Some of you will know that in Africa's history, one of the fiercest resistance to colonial intrusion came to be known as the Ramogi resistance. That's when the Ramogi clan at God Ramogi outside Gulu mounted a fierce resistance to colonialism. The colonial order only subdued them after the use of chemical weapons and starvation. So one of these days soon, I hope, you will come to Gulu, you will go to God Ramogi. Now, Piny Luo, what does this denote to us? Piny Luo denotes three things to us. It denotes the Luo people. It denotes the land inhabited by the Luo people, Luo land, wherever they may be. And it denotes, thirdly, the interwoven Luo civilization. That's what Piny Luo denotes to us. When we speak of the unity that is in the theme of this year's gathering, that unity means the oneness of Luo people. Common history, common ancestry, common language. But the diversity in our theme denotes the multiplicity of clans among the Luo. The Luos are divided into clans all over. For example, Game clan is very big here. Game is very big among the Central Luo in Uganda. The same clan. But also, diversity means that because of colonial borders, the Luo communities are now divided into separate ex-colonial administrations. So I just want to share with you this. First, what is it that makes the Luo people distinctive? What makes them stand out? What is particular about them? Yes, they have got some choice land, but there are other people who have more choice land than us. They have in the past had communities which were prosperous and well-to-do, but there are other communities which are more prosperous than us. In numbers, we are moderate. There are many communities much bigger than the Luo community. But what is distinctive about the Luo people is Kitwa. That is what is distinctive, Kitwa. In the Luo, the Luo of Central Luo of Uganda, we said Kitmewa, same as Kitwa, where we've tried to compile the attributes, the qualities, the traits that define the Luo character type. We've just published this 2 days ago in Gulu, and there are copies available here. I suppose what is here isn't very different from the character type here. For example, among the Luo, it's very important to be lagan, to be trustworthy, to be faithful, to have fidelity. When the colonial administration went to Jaramogi and said, "We can make you the first leader of Kenya," while Kenyatta was in Kapenguria, Jaramogi said, "Uhuru na Kenyatta." That is fidelity. That is lagan. That is faithfulness. The same Jaramogi, when he perceived that the chosen path had been lost, the same Jaramogi said to his friend, "Not yet Uhuru." That is fidelity. That is faithfulness. And when Mzee Kenyatta passed on, Jaramogi walked in alone with his fly whisk and gave, we call it PM, we call it much much in Central Luo, the incantation that pays tribute and gives praise to the great works of the departed. They had parted ways, but Jaramogi was faithful to the monumental contribution of Mzee Kenyatta. He did not rewrite history. Today, when you go to the museum in Bondo, you'll see as much of Jaramogi on the walls as you'll see of Mzee Kenyatta. He did not seek to rewrite history. That is faithfulness. That is fidelity. Our people valorize being truthful. We say ada in the Luo in our area. Truthfulness. Truthfulness. Our people, like those who are Jowat, they relate to others. They welcome others. They live in happiness and generosity with the others. Jowat is a very important character trait among our people. Our people say, "Jo PM, Wahero PM." They see a challenge, a major challenge, like God Ramogi, but they are undaunted. They say, "We must overcome this challenge." That is the spirit of the Luo. Those are part of the Luo traits. Our people like to have good humored banter and teasing. We say ore among our people. Their teeth are out. They like to tease, to banter, to make others feel at home. That is quintessentially a Luo character. The Luo people are not parochial. They are not inward looking. They are cosmopolitan in their outlook. So when they're in Luo land, they welcome others. In Central Luo in Uganda, we've had others who came, and even we said, "Guchamo ke" in our place. They got big positions and were elected to big positions, but in their blood, they were not Luo, but they became part of us. That is the cosmopolitan aspect of the Luo. When they're in Nairobi or in Kampala or in Mombasa, they reach out. They become part of the web where they are. They don't remain exclusive. They respect, they learn, and they integrate with the others. The Luo people are quintessentially cosmopolitan. They are a people who value their tradition and history. Jaramogi was so deeply rooted in the Luo tradition. I had the good fortune when I was ambassador of Uganda to the United Nations to get to know the great man at close range. I would welcome him at JFK at the airport, take him home. He would stay with me when he came to the United Nations or going to Canada or to Cuba, and would spend hours in the evening at dinner talking. Jaramogi was deeply, deeply rooted in his Luo tradition. That is what gave him the confidence to accept and to respect the other communities as a Kenyan nationalist and as a Pan-Africanist. So these traditions, our people, we say, Dogi Pekila, they were people who would not touch the property and the money and the assets of the community. It was a taboo. Grand corruption was a taboo within the Luo community. And so, what made our people, gave force to our people, is not our land, not the oil wealth in Gulu and Nuoya, not the vast land that we may occupy in places. It was Kitwa, our character, our values, our moral code, our do's and don'ts, our sense of what is acceptable and what is unacceptable. That is what gave force to the Luo community. And if we lose that, we have lost our bearing. Similarly, the Luo people love knowledge and learning well before the Europeans came on the scene. They would know everything about their environment, about cultivating the land, about hunting, about history. The same people would know all the dances and the songs, and they would beat the drums. Their history, their sense of knowledge was a unified field of knowledge. It wasn't divided into silos like European system of knowledge. That's our people. That is why when the Europeans came with classroom learning, it was easy for the Luo people to connect to that, because already they had in their history, in their culture, a very deep well of loving knowledge, respecting knowledge, and learning. If we lose this is our soft power. This is our real power. If we lose this moral bearing, these values, these metaphysical assets, we have lost our way. So my first and most important, I implore you, Jacob, I implore you, Peter, I implore you, James, work day and night to make sure our people don't lose their moral bearing, that we do not become a Shauri Yako society. Because if we do, a society in which anything goes, we shall have lost our Luoness. It's as clear as that. And secondly, our people, our forebears, their force was they were rooted in their culture, deeply rooted in their culture. I spoke earlier about Jaramogi, how deeply rooted it was in the Luo culture. You know, we have a particularly rich cultural heritage. If I speak of the Central Luo alone, I'm sure Ruot would have come here with the dancers of Buola, of Otole, and Apiri, and La Raka Raka. The list goes on and on. He would have come here with the musicians who have various instruments to play. I've barely seen that anywhere around the world, and I've gone around the world quite a bit. Such rich, incredible artistic expression. I remember very well the French ambassador when I was in Paris. I'd organized a little concert for Jeffrey Oriema before he became very well known. And the French ambassador was on leave, and he told me when he was told I was from Uganda, he said, "Where from Uganda do you come?" I said, "From Gulu." "Oh, Gulu?" I said, "Yes." Then he made a confession that when he went to Gulu for some function during the troubles, they prepared some meal for them. And the French ambassador said, "As you know, we the French, one of our items of great pride, our calling card around the globe, is what they call our cuisine." But the French ambassador confessed to me he was shocked to discover somewhere in the middle of Africa, a community he had barely heard of had a cuisine that was more exquisite, that was more plentiful than the French cuisine. That is our culture. We have something called ododo. I don't know what you call it in the Luo here. Ododo are the fables, very elaborate fables about animals, about the elephant and the hare and the lion, but they tell moral stories to the young people, which we tell to our children at Wang-O, the fireplace. I've not been anywhere around the globe where I've seen such elaborate and intricate and really important stories as our fables or our ododo. If we abandon our culture, if we abandon our cultural roots, we shall be a floating people with no force and no energy and no power. If we abandon our language, we no longer speak it, we don't read it, we don't publish it. A language which is not spoken, which is not published in, dies. This rich culture will disappear if we don't embrace and reinforce it. That is my second message to you all, Jatela, who are here for our people. And then thirdly, I said earlier, this is very important. There's a reason why the Luo have been such committed nationalists, whether in Uganda, in Tanzania, in Kenya, wherever they are, but also such passionate Pan-Africanists. There's a reason for that. Because of the cosmopolitan DNA in us. That's the reason why. Don't abandon that. Do not embrace discrimination and segregation. It is not in our DNA. We are a free people, a liberated people. We embrace others and their cultures. We respect them. We just do not want anybody to disrespect anybody else. That is all. That is all. That is all. We do not seek hegemony, domination. No, not one bit. We want mutual respect. We want equal opportunities. We want everybody, all of us, to have our place under God's sun. So let us not lose our cosmopolitan character. And then, I want to say this to you. Among the Central Luo, the Acholi community in particular, listen to this carefully. The Acholi community is facing an existential situation. Existential situation means you are delicately balanced between certain death and survival. That is where that community is hanging right now. The Central Luo community has radically and comprehensively collapsed. You heard me right. It's a radical and comprehensive societal collapse. The culture of which I spoke, the educational capital and heritage that one can speak of, the music and dances, the prosperity of the progressive society that was, and our moral order, above all, has collapsed. This thanks to some 20 plus years of warfare between the government and various rebel groups, and the internment of the entire society in camps for 20 years, in conditions that many of you are familiar with. That has produced a radical, comprehensive collapse of the Central Luo society in Uganda. Just now I'm coming from Gulu, where we had a convocation called Goreme Pongduo, Convocation of Pongduo, because the first convocation we had last year was in a place called Pongduo. The reason for that convocation, which is being led by our Chief Justice in Uganda, Alphonse Windolo, and myself, is we gathered all our leaders across the spectrum and said, faced with this existential situation, what can we do? Not what the government can do or what the US can do, but what can we do? And we decided that we must come together and make every effort we can in our weakness, in our vulnerability, in the collapse which has taken place, to save this society from extinction. That's the reason for Goreme Pongduo, which we had first last year, and the second one we've just now ended yesterday in Gulu. I bring to you greetings from Chief Justice Windolo, who wanted very much to be here, but couldn't make it. And our message to you is that the Central Luo of Uganda was a hugely important pillar of the Luo people. I say was, because of the existential situation we are facing. The Luo people and Luo civilization is much the weaker without that pillar. It is in everybody's interest, all well-meaning people of goodwill, women and men of all communities, to join us to work to rebuild, to restore, and to transform a fallen society. That is why just 2 days ago, we came out with these two publications. The first one is Chekpa Kara. This is the commandments of the community. Kara is the community. Kara is the society. We looked into our society, saw the moral collapse, a society that was so morally strong, had clear do's and don'ts, and we are now floating. And we've come up with this. The Attorney General of Uganda said, there is nothing in this that collides with the Constitution or the laws of Parliament. You can proceed to work with this and enforce it within the Luo community. Now, you may look into this and find things which are useful, but this is the commandments that we have compiled for our people. Here is Kitwa, or in the language of the Central Luo today, we say also Kit Mewa. We discovered that our people who were born in the camps and grew up there don't know what qualities we are talking about the Luos. Because they have not been taught, they have not been inculcated, they have not been exposed to it. So we sat down and compiled some qualities which are crucial, critical to being a Luo. Among them, some of the ones which I just cited a little while ago. So, my dear brothers and sisters, this is my message to you from Achole land, from Gulu and the Goreme Pongduo, which just ended. We are looking forward to a Pan-Luo convocation. One of our resolutions says in 2026, we would love to have a big Pan-Luo convocation It can be here, it can be in Uganda, it can be anywhere. We can discuss that. But we want a big Piny Luo convocation. Finally, my message to you is this. I have had the opportunity to be associated with the United Nations and other international organizations. With the African Union from the time it was the OAU. I was actually there when the African Union was formed. I've worked very hard to strengthen some of its institutions. I know what it takes to be a leader of nations. I know what qualities are required to push Africa to the next level today. Africa needs a person of conviction, a person driven by conviction, not self-interest. Africa needs a person who's gone through the baptism of fire, who has fought the struggle, who knows what it means to be in the dungeons. And Africa needs somebody machwinye tek, somebody with courage, somebody with a somebody magene. Africa needs somebody machwinye tek. Africa needs JPM because we have so many challenges to overcome. The timid, those who are easily daunted, cannot face those challenges. And above all, Africa needs a person who is passionate about the well-being of the ordinary people, of the ordinary Africans across the land, across the entire continent, and to whom segregation and discrimination along sectarian lines, along ethnic lines, along national lines are foreign. And so, it is not because he comes from here, it is not because Jacob is a Luo, but because this is what Africa needs today. That a few months ago, my friend Salim Lone and myself wrote an article which has been widely syndicated across the globe, recommending with all our heart and all our force and all our conviction that word Tuon, that word Luo, that Jacob, the blessings of all our ancestors, the blessings of all our people, all the Pan-Africanists who preceded us, that those blessings may shower upon him, because he's a leader Africa has been waiting for. I thank you, and God bless you, Joey. Joey, Erokamano.
Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for Dr. Olara Otunnu. You can say that that was an inspired speech. That was a speech inspired by Ramogi Juang, because we are at the foot of God Ramogi. That was a speech inspired by G-Law from Ethiopia. That was a speech inspired by Nyikango. That was a speech inspired by Olum Rair. Those are our ancestors. Dr. Olara Otunnu. That was their Juogi speaking through Olara Otunnu. As we prepare for Professor Peter Nyaba, the Anywa, give us a jig because we need Peter Nyaba cannot come down the rostrum. We need a seat here. As we bring that seat, Anyua, I'm told you are ready with a jig. Please. Yeah, put here. Another one, just put there. Go ahead, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The Anyua cultural dancers. Our second keynote speaker is a gentleman from South Sudan, from the Shilluk or Cholo, if you wish. He's an author. He's also a liberation fighter. And you can see the scars physically scars fighting for Southern Sudan. So he bore the brunt of physical scars. He also bore the brunt of psychological scars. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Professor Peter Nyaba. Professor, you can proceed.
Thank you, Professor Adams. Coming after such a high speech of Olara Otunnu, I really feel that I'll just be talking stories, because what he did, like he was speaking from the notes I had prepared, so it would be really ridiculous to open up these things again. My name is Peter Nyaba, and I come from the Cholo Kingdom. The Cholo Kingdom is on the Nile, between Legno and Kosti. And until the 17th century, or around that time with the coming of the Turks, we used to control the Nile up to Khartoum area. And Khartoum is not the Arabic word which talks of the trunk of the elephant, but it is Akar Atum. Two branches of the river have met, Akar Atum. And that island in between, we call it Tuti. Tuti, which is a knot. When you make a rope into a knot, that's the meaning of it. The Shulu Kingdom, I bring the greetings and the well wishes of Wat Nyikang Kuong Dak Pediet. Red Kuong Dak Pediet is the reigning sovereign, 34th Cholo sovereign. I say sovereign because the Cholo Kingdom is the only remaining of the indigenous state-recognized kingdoms in the Sudan. Many of them were destroyed by colonialism, but the Shuluk Kingdom remained. And Rathkuongo is the reign. He was installed in 1993. It's 31 years of his reign. I bring greetings from him and the Cholo people. And what Dr. Otunnu said about the threat, the anyway, the danger to the Achole is not to the Achole alone, actually. I think it is to our people. The Luo people are threatened. And so in South Sudan, we have 7 Luo groups. 7 Luo groups. We have the Luo, those people who call themselves the Luo, which Prime Minister Raila said before, Jurchol. There's nothing called Jurchol, because Jurchol is a Dinka name, and it means a black foreigner. Now the Luos were found there. How can they be foreigners in their land? So we have the Luo, we have the Boer, and according to the Shuluk legend, Boer was son of Nyikang, because Nyikang married to a woman from Chad. and Chad is the proto-Luo. They are the real original Luo from whom all other people have moved away. And they are in Raja, they are in Awel, and in Wau counties. So Boer, because he was being bullied by his brother, his cousin, his brother from another woman from, Boer was the eldest son of Nyekang. And he took from his uncles who were Bantus. So this Nilote guy bullied him and he said, no, father, I want to go. I cannot live with this guy. So Nyekang said, you go. And Boer left and said, you go with that woman, Achol, because she was troublesome. So Boer went and founded the Balanda Boer in Wau, partly in Wau and partly in Tumbra County, in western Equatoria. Then, beside the Shuluks in Upper Nile, we have the Anuak. The Anua have a kingdom, only that they don't have a centralized authority. It is only recently, about 50 years ago, that Akwai Cham was confirmed as the paramount Nye of the Anuak. Because the Anuak has a system that every prince ruled from in his place. So they were all of equal status until 50 years ago, where they have been installed and the royal seat is with Akwai, is in his family now. And the reigning Nye is Cham Akwai. Cham Akwai Cham. This is the Luos in Upper Nile and in Bahr el Ghazal. When you come to Equatoria, southern part, we have the Pari. Pari is a small group, but a very strong people. And I want really to underline some of the things which were said before. Because one of the things, the characteristics of the Luo people is, apart from integrity, is also strength. They're very strong people. And they know how to fight. So, although it's a small group, the party, they have maintained themselves there, even against the stronger group in that area. Then, of course, we have the Acholi, which is the southernmost part of the Luos in South Sudan. South Sudan just emerged from war. But a war that was fought on the principles of liberation. But it was, some of us who were there discovered that it was not really liberation. Because liberation has to do with freeing of the mind, freeing of the intellect and the body, the physical energy, to enable one to really be able to make a decision in the interest of the people. There is nowhere in the world where you would combine liberation and oppression. Never. And that is why you hear today, since 2013, we have been in a very serious situation of war, a civil war. A civil war in which more than 2 million people have died. And yet, we don't have peace. And yet we don't have peace. And Honorable Laila Amolo is aware of this, he knows this, has been part of the situation to reconcile what is going on in South Sudan. And we hope, we are praying that their efforts will be really crowned with success. Because what our people need is peace. And peace to be able to know ourselves. To be able to know ourselves that we had a common origin. The idea of Piny Luo, which I just got information recently, is something which has really caught the imagination of many of us. We didn't know this. This is the 4th edition. Many of us are ignorant of it. And that it has occurred today, has been launched today, at the end of the year, I think it is an important note on which to end 2024. But it's also a beginning of a journey, a very long journey to rediscover ourselves. Not really to rediscover, but really to bring ourselves back into history. We have been appendages of other people's history, or footnotes, actually, rather, in the history of other people. So I think Honorable James Orengo, this is a great idea. That next year is moving to Mugori. I think if we are alive, we'll be there. We have started to mobilize our people, the young people, because the time was short, it was not possible to bring them around. But honestly, South Sudan is not far from Kenya. It's not far from, if you are going to Nairobi, it is far. But I think if we are coming from Juba, starting to Juba, I can come by land all the way to Kisumu, to Migori, even to any other place here in the, so we can come in big numbers. So the preparation for the 5th edition, which would now, in my opinion, and I underline what Otunnu said, is that we should prepare for it, all of us. It will not be you here in Kenya, the Luos of Kenya. I think we will mobilize all the other Luos, because really, I think we need to know ourselves. We need to know ourselves. There are stories, we are just like, guessing, oh, there is the Anuag in Ethiopia. The Anuag in Ethiopia are in danger also. They are in danger, actually. They know this. And some of us sometimes go to the point of saying, you come back. Because all this land which the Nuer and the Dinka have claimed is Anuag land on the Sobet River. It's all Anuag land from the confluence of the Sobet River up to Badgilo, up to Akobo, up to the Ilemi Triangle. The Ilemi Triangle, Ilemi is a distortion of Ulemi, because the Ulemi was an Anuak king, prince rather, who ruled that area. And this was before the Turkana, the Toposa could come there. So it will be really, will be failing our people. Because while it is almost impossible to attain political unity, but cultural unity is feasible. It can be done. And it starts with the activities of the youth, the academics, in language, the question of studying and alphabetization, which Ulura mentioned before. We need to write and read our languages and bring them together, because even these assumed differences in language is because of separate development. As Raila said before, 800 years of separate development is enough time to have different languages completely. But these languages can be brought together, brought back together, by seeing the most common of them and develop and promoting them. And this is what we should be doing. Yeah, sorry. But so it is important. Cultural unity is important. I've seen it on the Facebook. I've seen it, the youth who are singing songs. I've seen, I think the youth have developed themselves into a union where they are really performing some of these things. Before I end, I want to give you a story. A very short story of a friend whom we lost some years back. But I met him in Khartoum, 1985, in the house of a colleague. And he introduced himself as Omwany Ojok. I saw him as a short man and brownish. I said, "From which Shuluk village are you coming?" He said, "No, I don't know, I'm a Ugandan." I said, "Ugandan? Omwany. It means to swallow. Ojok means from God." He said, "Yes, that's what it means." And then you say you are from Uganda? I cannot believe it. But anyway, this is the truth. I came later, after we relocated to Kenya in 1993. I met him again. Now they had come back. He was a rebel like before I could. They were the group of 4. So, an Eritrean friend told me that he was Omwany Ojok. I said, no. I want to meet this man. He said, "No, we are going to the airport." I said, "No, you can cancel you will stay with me in the house." I was staying in Magiwa. So this guy, he gave him the telephone. He said, "You come." So I told him, "You will leave tomorrow or after tomorrow. You have to see my family. And I want to know you." So he said, "Yes, we are Tur. And we are in Karamoja. So in Karamoja they are called Itur. In Labur, right?" I said, "But what brings you?" Because in northern Shuluk, we have the Tur. These are the keepers of the tradition, the culture, the Sholo culture, because they are the real, the Shuluk call. The rest are, as you said before, mixed people. But these guys are really original. They are Tur. So I think if we can reconstruct this information, if we collect them, we can reconstruct how we, you see, all these divisions, how they came about. And of course, my theory is that the Luo sense of justice does not allow people, to be bullying themselves or cheating themselves. And that's why they moved away from each other. You see, so the Luo culture rests on one issue of justice, the issue of integrity, because as a person, you must be integral, straightforward, and not compromised. The third one is the strength to be able to defend what you have. So this is what I would say, things which we need to research, which we need to investigate in order really to come together, because this is what will bring the unity of our people. I want to pay tribute to Professor Bethwell Ogot, who really started this research and his book, The J Speakers. I've learned a lot from that, and I think it's a beginning which the scholars, the academics should really pick up in order really to build this Luo culture and make it compatible with what is going on in the world. Thank you very much. I want to...
Thank you very much, Professor Peter Nyaba. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a third keynote speaker, but I know the sugar levels are down. We've had a long day, and the third keynote speaker will be none other than Professor Bethwell Ogot that Professor Nyaba has talked about. But because of the time and because our sugar levels are down, have consulted. And we have agreed that if you look at the program of tomorrow, after which loom, we are supposed to be convening in Migwena for different activities. But for the cultural symposium, after which loom, we shall be reconvening here, right here in Ramogi at 11:30. And at 11:30, it will be Professor Bethwell Ogot speaking to us. And thereafter, we shall go into the breakaway groups. And therefore, with that, let me invite my co-MC, DG Owili, to invite Governor Orengo so that we conclude today's session. DG Owili.
Thank you, Professor Adams. Olo Adams. Thank you very much. That concludes our symposium for today. I hope that we've learned a lot. And I want us to prepare our hands and give a round of applause for those who have facilitated, those who have spoken, and those who have given us a lot of information about our past. Sinikweli? Aya, 1, 2, 3. Kindu. Erokamano. And now I want to take this opportunity to invite the governor of the great county of Siaya. Adwa noruake kobiro, Governor Masiaya biro mondo miutikane wachni. Karibu sana, Your Excellency. Tumpige makofi akikuja. Na sigalagala akikuja. Erokamano. Thank you. Karibu.
The guest of honor who opened these proceedings His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, and all our guests who have spoken today from Sudan, from Uganda, and from Ethiopia, and our Ker Odongiranda, to our Minister for Defense and Veteran Affairs from Uganda, all protocols observed. I want to say that tomorrow we are gathered here today, and the nerve center for Piny Luo, the conversation and the discourse is here in Ramogi. We did not choose Ramogi for nothing. There's a reason why the nerve center of the conversations is here in Ramogi. Olara Otunnu, I am going to sleep very soundly because your message today was so powerful. Your message was very powerful, and you have spelled out articulately what being a Luo is all about. That we have got certain universal yet very unique qualities that if we lose, then we are all under an existential threat. I, for one, am very inspired today from the speeches we've had, right from Caire and from Ethiopia. When you were speaking in Luo, I was interested in what you're saying in Luo. And I realized the Luo nation is big, is huge. And our speaker, professor, has told us that we extend up to Khartoum. I've always thought that Khartoum is an Arabic name. But today you know that your land is vast, but you are not to live in seclusion. We are part of a wider world. So our program will come to a close now. We'll have a prayer from Bishop Buka, but tomorrow the discourse continues here. And I hope all of us will come here to partake or take part in that discourse. The Luo spirit is reborn. What cheer! What cheer! There is a renaissance. What cheer! What cheer! Joey! Joey!
Let's stand up and pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you so much that today we have discovered you have great things in us, that indeed you have stored in our hearts. Information and networks that make us shocked and marvel at the doing of the great God of Israel, even our God. That we have discovered we are a big community, and that we have brothers spread all over Africa, and that we love each other so much. Lord, we thank you for this. That there's no more room for mishandling each other. Because now are my brother's keeper, whether in Uganda, or Ethiopia, or Chad, or Tanzania, or Ghana, or even the Democratic Republic of Congo, and many others. Thank you for the guests that you brought, that we may pick minds and share ideas, and that we may read from the same page, that indeed we are people that God loves. Thank you for that love. Lord, we also thank you that as we come to the end of this meeting, that the wisdom with which we have interacted with each other could only have come from you and not man. You used men to bring it. And Lord, thank you for the men that you have used. Particularly His Excellency, Raila Amolo Odinga, our leader, whose heart has been knit together with the millions of Luos on the need to be united and to work together. Thank you for Raila. He is a gift to us. Bless him and keep him. And thank you for blessing His Excellency James Orengo for opening huge doors for such engagements, interaction, and discussion. Lord, we thank you, and many others that have contributed immensely for the success of this symposium and the meetings that will continue until Thursday. Lord, we pray that as we disperse carriers on your wings, continue to speak to us about this unity and how we can continue to interact and enlarge our borders, that we may, O King of glory, give glory back to you for the great things that you have done. Until we meet again to celebrate your doing, in Jesus' name we pray.
Erokamana Anya, we thank you, but please, as we disperse, remember we have the gala night today evening at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. We are crossing the year together there. Why are we gakanyakla kawuono? Joust. Remember to please come.